The wind advantage going home with the score tied at 20 in the third quarter. The Saskatchewan Roughriders dominated, and statistically they have somewhat narrowed the gap, although it's still an impressive performance by Bernard Quarles in particular on behalf of the Calgary Stampeders.
I'll tell you what's scary right here for the Calgary Stampeders is that they don't know what's going to happen on this kick, because Saskatchewan's liable to do anything. They have nothing to lose, and that's very unnerving for the defensive unit.
Badowicz kicks it to Hopkins at the 9-yard line, and he fights his way out to about the 16. He's stopped there by Scott Reddle. 20-20 is the score here at McMahon Stadium as we are into the fourth quarter. The Stampeders must win or tie if they hope to qualify for the Western Conference semifinal next Sunday against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Otherwise, the Edmonton Eskimos will be going against Winnipeg.
The way Quarles threw that ball against the wind, with the wind now blowing pretty much, he gets it up in the air, he'll throw it up in the mountains.
Ray Krause stopped right at the line of scrimmage. As a matter of fact, maybe a loss in the flag. He is not going to have any success running against this Saskatchewan team.
Frank Robinson was just waiting on him out there. That linebacker was just sitting there, and he forced him to stutter step, and he makes the hit on him right away. Boy, they are not running on Saskatchewan today. Jack Goder's got to be a little anxious right now.
I'm sure it makes it a little easier when you know there's only one back who's going to run that football. Moore is strictly a blocker.
Yes, and Krause hadn't done it. All those rushing yards belong to Quarles just about.
Quarles throwing deep. He's got Wallace open. He could not catch up with the football.
Ran a stop and go on Kenny Hinton, and he got behind him. But if they don't catch the ball, it doesn't matter.
That's about a 75-yard pass.
Take a look at it. He's going to get a little bit of time. He pumps one time. Now that means Wallace is going deep, and he just lays it out.
He's thrown it from the goal line, and he throws it on an angle over to that hash mark. That's got to be 70, 75 yards in the air.
He'd like to take about 4 yards off of it.
Well, Jack Goda was able to convince Bernard Quarles to sign with Calgary. He gave him the opportunity to play quarterback here. A number of NFL teams were trying to sign Quarles. They wanted him as a running back.
Look at that.
Great kick by McTagg. Stu Fraser all the way back to his 26-yard line. He fights his way out to the 46, a 20-yard run back after a 67-yard kick by Mike McTagg. 13-12, the time remaining here in the fourth quarter, and the score is tied at 20. Well, except for the wind, it's been a beautiful November afternoon here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. A temperature of 12 degrees with the sun shining brightly when the game got underway at 2 o'clock Calgary time. Now the shadow of the West Side Grandstand covering the playing surface, except for an area of about 10 yards in the south end. The ball is fumbled. No indication yet from the officials. The Saskatchewan players are indicating they've got the ball. And apparently they do.
Danny Bass was in there in a hurry to make the hit to pop the ball loose. Oh, when that ball's loose on the ground, it draws a crowd. Get a good look at it. The handoff, the figure, Danny Bass right there. The left hand come in and popped it out of there. Still loose. I don't see how those red jerseys missed it.
I believe it was Washington or Chris DeFrance. The two of them were both fighting for it, but it was a Saskatchewan player who came up with it. 2nd and 12. To Mike Washington. He is hit almost immediately. Richie Hall making the tackle, and Saskatchewan forced into a kicking situation. 12:29 is the time left to play here in the fourth quarter.
Well, Calgary forces him to throw that ball off to the back. He catches it with his back turned. He has no idea where Richie Hall's coming from, and Hall makes a great open field tackle.
Well, in case you missed it earlier, 21-21 the score in that Eastern game involving Hamilton and Montreal. As a result, Hamilton finishes third and will face Ottawa next Sunday in the Eastern semifinal, a game you'll see on the CBC television network.
Look at that ball hang up in the air against that wind.
Third down kick by Batowich bounces out of bounds at the 32-yard line. So with 12:05 remaining in the game, that's where the Calgary Stampeders will take over 1st and 10 when we return to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. On CBC television next Sunday, you'll see the Eastern semifinal, Hamilton against Ottawa. The Western semifinal features the Winnipeg Blue Bombers against either Calgary or Edmonton, and tickets are on sale for both semifinal games. Starting time in the East in Ottawa is 1 o'clock. The game in Winnipeg will get underway at 3. Well, of course, from a coaching standpoint, the thing you strive for is to have that favoring wind in the 4th quarter. The Calgary Stampeders have got it. They've got a tie ball game, and they should have another first down with the strike from Mike McTagg.
Well, I like what McTagg did there. He just ran that quick stop pattern, caught the ball, lowered his head, and went straight ahead. Get as much as you can.
He's made quite a contribution this afternoon to that Calgary team with his pass catching and his punting. He's bailed them out of a couple of jams with some good kicks. McTagg, the Argonauts' #1 draft choice in 1978.
From North Dakota State, isn't it?
And take a look at those flags, man. That wind is really starting to blow right now, and that's a big advantage for Calgary.
1st and 10. Quarles to the sideline to McTagg. He makes the catch. There's a penalty flag as well. I believe they're calling Ken Hinton with a late hit.
I think you're going to get a spearing call.
Bud Ulrich, the man in charge of this afternoon's game. He confers with his officials. And the spearing call against Ken Hinton will move the Calgary Stampeders closer to that Saskatchewan goal line.
Get a good look at it. It's a little half bootleg. He throws the out to the sideline, and McTagg is on the ground when he makes the catch, and the rule says you cannot spear the guy with the helmet when he's down. And that's a good call. The helmet is not to be used as a weapon.
Major foul, Saskatchewan, spearing, first down.
1st and 10 Calgary at the Saskatchewan 38. And the fans who had been rather quiet during the 3rd quarter have come alive here in the 4th period. 11:06 is the time remaining. Quarles in trouble, and he's going to be dropped back at the 48-yard line by Olsen and Goldsmith.
See Quarles holding that right arm of his. That's how his injury occurred, was banging it on the ground. He banged it again pretty good right there.
Well, he was kept out of last week's game against Hamilton because of that arm problem. Jack Goda declared him fit and ready for today's game, and he has certainly displayed that in the way he has thrown the football.
Oh, nice throw.
Another strike, not a first down, however, as Ferzani is stopped at the 32-yard line. Barry Friesen was there to make the tackle.
Well, they got to go for the field goal.
Watch the throw, Leo. Turns around. Ferzani turns around and looks at him, and he drills it.
Boy,
Bang.
you got to be impressed with the way he's throwing the football. Anybody that's ever seen a quarterback throw has got to say that he's got a great throwing action.
Good throwing motion and a big future ahead of him.
22 of 33 is Bernard Quarles for 395 yards.
Well, I'll tell you one thing you can say. The Saskatchewan Roughriders haven't rolled over and played dead today. They've played a great football game.
I've been impressed with that. The attitude and hustle.
Field goal attempt by J.T. Hay from 39 yards out. It's wide. It'll sail through the end zone for a single point. So it's now 21-20. The Stampeders in front with 9:49. The time left to play. Bernard Quarles trying to get the Calgary Stampeders into the Western Conference semifinal against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 1 week's time. And if he succeeds, the end of a dynasty, perhaps. The Edmonton Eskimos, after 5 consecutive Grey Cup triumphs, will be on the outside looking in. First and 10 from the 35. Saskatchewan trailing by a single point. Jordan to the sidelines for Nate Johnson. First down at the 49.
Well, I'll tell you, he threw that under duress.
He sure did. He had Ballard right after him, number 57.
Ballard gives him a pretty good shot here, too. Watch him after he throws the ball. Watch Ballard hit him. Woo.
Johnson did a good job keeping those feet in bounds as he reached up for the football. 9:22 the time left in the game. 21-20, Calgary leading. First and 10, Saskatchewan. They are at their own 49. Handoff inside to Washington. He breaks a couple of tackles, very close to a 10-yard gain.
That's that same draw again with the contained man on the wide side of the field coming upfield, trying to cut off the sprint out by Jordan. And he just starts to the outside and gives the ball inside to Washington, and he just goes right up in that gap. And that's a well-designed play, and it's a good play to call under those circumstances and to complement the sprint out pass.
Measurement required to determine if it is a first down. Any portion of the football, and referee Bud Ulrich signals the first down, Saskatchewan. There's some signaling going on at that Saskatchewan bench. Some help for quarterback Homer Jordan as he calls his next offensive series. First and 10 at the 51 of Calgary. Ball is fumbled. Calgary has recovered. Doug Battershill pounces on that loose football. What a big break for the Calgary Stampeders.
I was just watching number 1, Tim Pierce, lined up at that left end spot. You see the ball, just a handoff between Washington and Jordan, and now the red jerseys are everywhere. And it's Doug Battershill makes maybe the biggest fumble recovery of the year for the Stampeders.
And I think, Ron, that the defense made the adjustment on that sprint draw and brought the linebacker on the offside and shot him as soon as they saw the sprint going away, and he got there and knocked the ball out of his hand.
Well, we understand that across the network, viewers are experiencing some video problems. We apologize and hope to have it rectified just as soon as possible. First and 10 on the turnover. Calgary taking over at the 53. Quarles for McTagg, incomplete. Good coverage by Kenny Hinton. McTagg protesting that there should be a flag.
Well, there's the ball in the air.
Boy, he's got it. He's draped over him with.
Good defensive play.
Yeah, the referee's got a better spot to see it than we do.
Yeah, I hate to be a referee and have to call those kind, because that's the one you never know how to call it. Whether you can go through the man at the ball as long as you make contact with the ball or not.
Quarles looked over and he was going to dump it off, and it was Jerry Inglis who was standing there, and Quarles hauled the ball back in. He was all set just as he was being hauled down by Morgan to flip it out, and then realized that it was his offensive tackle who was standing waiting for the ball.
Jerry English said, "Trust me."
That was the pattern he hit Forzani on a while ago, but this time when Tom went down and turned to the inside, he fell. So he had nowhere to throw it.
Is it hard to say English without saying English?
English?
Yeah, English.
Oh.
Okay. Jerry English.